Okay, this is part two of the importing SFM models into Blender. And so for this part, I'm gonna hide. Oh, 1 second, my sister's here. 2 seconds, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry, my little sister came by. But so what we have here is we have our textured model with the bones. And if you go to pose mode, you can see that you could actually pose the model right now. And this would be the regular kind of FK way of posing the model. And that's not what we want. So first of all, select every bone, click Alt-I to get rid of that first keyframe. Because I think almost every single model that you download will have a kind of beginning first frame. So get rid of that, Alt-R, Alt-G, Alt-S to put the rotation, location, and scale back to normal because that might be messed up in the process too. And now we have the regular T-pose of the model. Okay, now we'll add the Armature, which is this human meta rig. And as you can see, it's tiny. And this is actually how big regular human in Blender would be. And as you can see, it's quite, the SFM models are quite big. So I'm going to select everything and then deselect this armature thing. I'm going to hold down control as I'm scaling it down so I can scale it down using kind of steps. And that's useful because I'll show you in just a second. So I'll get it to close to the size as I want. That's pretty close. We're gonna be changing this up. So let's say you added just the model without the weapon, and then afterwards you wanted to add the weapon, but it starts off pretty big, and you're like, okay, well I wanna get it down to the regular size of the model. And what you do is you can hold down control and it'll just go to uh, straight to the right size. And actually, I think it didn't really work out too well. So if I go out here, so normally what you try to do is you try to get it perfectly centered, and it always ends up being not very good. But if you hold down control, it'll kind of clip in. So that's what you want. That's why I always hold down control when I'm scaling everything down. Once you have everything scaled down, you just click Control A and apply the scale. And that will just make it so that uh, it won't give you trouble in the future because if you don't apply the scale, it'll be right here. These will be at like zero point 0.1 or something like that. They'll be pretty far down. And then when you apply this rig to the model will be huge, but the rig will still be small, and it'll give you all these little errors. I found out the hard way so that you guys don't have to. All right, so now I'm just gonna hide the weapon, and now we'll leave the bones here. So there's a lot of bones here. It's gonna be kind of a pain in the butt to see what I'm doing, but I usually say the more bones the better because that just gives you more control. And what we have here is we have the meta rig, and so we want to line up these bones with the bones on the actual body, and then after we line them up, we're gonna click generate, and it's gonna generate the rig. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. So we're gonna get rid of this, and I'm gonna go into orthographic for this. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna let's line up the head and the neck bone first. So I believe this is the head bone. This will um, sometimes it's good to select the bone, move it around. Okay, yep, this is the head bone. Usually you can kind of tell which bones are which. So we want this bone to be in line with the head bone. Put the head bone up here, and then we have this neck bone. And as you can see, these ones aren't connected. So I'm just gonna click Control S, cursor to selected, and then click this and select the cursor. And then I'll just put these two bones in the same exact spot, which is on the neck bone. And then you're just going to want to move down on the chest. So we'll pull this up here. And it looks like there's not going to be enough bones in the meta rig to, actually there might be. These kind of skirt bones kind of getting in my way, so it's kind of hard to tell. So this is going to be pelvis, is the kind of the origin of the entire thing. And then this is the next part, and they're kind of close by, though. That's fine. It should still work out. So pull this down. We have a really tiny bone here. Though as you can see, there's an extra joint here that we have that we don't have an extra bone for. And that's simple. You just subdivide this bone and then line it up. Now I'll just make it so that you have like an extra kind of spine part to move around. And it's fine. It won't mess the model up too much or anything like that. So that's fine the way it is. Make sure the bones are lined up. Okay, we got the arm bones lined up. And now, totally forgot to do this, though it's fine because we were only doing center bones. You want to turn on X-axis mirror. You're going to want to do that so that you don't have to move the left side and the right side individually of each other. So I'm going to move the shoulders into the right spot and then put them right here in the middle. And I'm going to move this over here. Now I'm going to put the cursor to the selected and select the cursor. And then I'm going to select this entire arm, and I'm just going to go right here, and this is just a quick way. I'm just going to rotate it down a little bit, maybe shrink it a little bit, just to get it the general size of the arm. And what this is just changes the pivot point. So like I can change it so it pivots. So like right now it's set to the median of all the origins. So since I have multiple bones selected, when I rotate, it'll kind of rotate in the middle of all the bones. I can set it so all the bones rotate individually of each other, or I can set it to pivot along this little cursor. That's not important right now. So now we're just going to be moving down the arm. Now we go to the elbow, and the elbow, oh, that's actually already lined up. Now we'll do the wrist, and this hand, oops, Shift Z accidentally did that. The hand bone is by far the worst part. I don't like doing the hands. The fingers are obnoxious, and they almost every time that I do them, I always get some kind of little error, mess something up, but it's fine. So you just want to line up the joints with the center of each bone, and then the tip will just be kind of like towards the tip of the finger. And this hand is kind of cupped a little bit and pointed down, so it makes it even harder. Though, if you can tell, I'm a master at doing this. Not really, but I've done this a couple of times, so even though it's a pain in the butt, I've kind of gotten used to it. And I'm just gonna go along the fingers. And if you want to get straight to the part where I'm doing the legs and stuff like that, I wouldn't blame you if you skip this part. It is kind of tedious. I might not talk as much now, and that might be a good thing. Some of you guys might not like when I talk too much. I'm just gonna move everything over here. Okay, so I got it mostly in the right area. So I'm gonna move the arm down until it's right about there. And then move the joints to the center of the bone. And you don't need to have it exactly in the center. The closer you get, the better it's going to work. And actually, what we're going to do after we line up all these bones is we're going to change the rotation so that when we bend the fingers, they don't like bend sideways or something like that. So we'll just move everything down. Oh, missed this one. These bones right here, you don't really need to mind too much except for this end point right here. These part of the bones don't really move too much on the SFM models. And so I'll go back to the front view. I don't know what I'm doing. We'll move this down here, move this down here, and move this down here. And if the fingers get slightly messed up or they're kind of like at an angle, I'm not going to stress about it too much because this isn't really trying to get a perfectly rigged model. This is just showing you how to do it. And so I'm doing quite a dirty job of it. Normally I wouldn't grab big clumps at a time. I would just normally just select one joint at a time and move them down individually. So I'm kind of in a hurry. Okay, so we got the arm bones or the finger bones, and normally the fingers are usually lined up pretty well, uh, facing out. Though the thumb bone sometimes gives me trouble. So as you can see, um, I'm gonna come out of orthographic. You can kind of see that they're kind of facing this way. And we want it to be facing directly at me when I'm looking at the thumb bone. So I'm just gonna maybe adjust a little bit. And if I click N, there's this little roll thing right here. This is my uncle right there, by the way. The more you know. So I'm just gonna kind of adjust this so that the thumb bone kind of points more the way the thumb is looking. So now when I bend it, it's gonna bend like this, in this direction, rather than bending like towards the wrist, which is gonna look a little bit weird. So we have the finger bones set up. Now we'll do leg bones. We got the hard part done. And there's a lot of different like thigh bones. So just kind of get it in the thigh area. This model has a lot of different bones, so don't worry if your model has only a few of them. That might help you be less confused when it comes to these kind of things. Keep on clicking S instead of A. Keep on messing things up. So I'll move the feet down, go back to orthographic just so you get a better view of what's going on. Put the ankle on the ankle bone, and we want this point to be right, pretty much exactly on the heel, and this would be on like the middle part of the foot. Put this right here, and this is the tip of the foot. Move this back a bit. And I think that's pretty much it when it comes to lining up the bones. And so real quick, I'm just going to save this as Mercy Meta. And that's just so I know that this is pre-generation of the rig. Because if I messed up on like putting the bones somewhere, I could always go back to the previous save and then fix it and then do it again. If I don't save it right there, then if I mess something up, I'm gonna have to line them all up again. And I've done that a couple of times, so just want you guys to know, don't do that. Yeah, you could save yourself a lot of time. A lot of time that I've wasted doing that. Okay, so we have our rig, and we'll just go into this part right here, and if we click generate, give it about a second, and you'll see it generates a little rig. And if you go to this tab right here, this is just these are just objects. These aren't actually the bones. The bones are on this layer. Though if you try to move them, you realize that they're not actually uh, connected to the armature yet. They're not. This this object doesn't use this armature. It's using this armature. So what we're gonna have to do is connect them and apply all these bones. So quickly, before I do any of that, I'm just gonna click N to open up this window again, and we're gonna turn on IK only. And so for the IK movement, we only want. We're gonna want to get rid of anything that says FK. Get rid of FK and tweak. The TW stands for tweak. Get rid of all the tweak and the FK, and we'll be left with like torso, fingers, and IK, and the root if you want to keep the root. And that doesn't get rid of it, that just hides it. And we're going to want to set two things. So we're going to want to set this this hand to from FK all the way to IK, and we want to set the stretch to 0, so it doesn't stretch the model. As you can see, like it moves along, and then when I pull it too far away, it doesn't keep on going. If I turned on stretch, it would stretch the model out, and we don't want that. So click Alt G, Alt R, Alt S, and we'll do the same thing for this hand. Turn on IK and turn off stretch, and then we'll do that with the feet. And so that will just set everything IK. Okay, so we got that down. Set to IK. We got the bones in pretty much the right area. Now, all we have to do is do the actual thing. Maybe that may have been a little bit confusing. So what do we have on this layer? Okay, so we have this. I'll move the meta rig somewhere else just so it's not in the way. And we want to select. Here, let me put this only on layer 2, just so we select all the parts of the Mercy model, and then we select. Oops, we want to shift select the bones, and then we want to click Control P and just armature deform. Don't do envelope weights or automatic weights or anything like that. Just armature deform, and that will make it so that uh, these bones are connected to the armature. Though they still don't affect it yet because they're not weight painted. Though these pre-built bones will do the weight painting for us. So I'll show you how to do that. I'll turn on X-ray so that you can see through, and we'll just go and select right here this one layer, and you can click shift and it'll select it with all these other ones showing. Though you don't need to do that, you can just click select and it'll only show these green bones. And here's the, well, we're almost at the annoying part. So we want to select just the bones. So we want both these to set object and select, I think it's the new one and then the old one. Oops. New one and then shift select the old one. And if you click Control J, no, we did that backwards. So it's the old one and then the new one. Shift J. And it looks like the old one disappeared, but it's just on this first layer. And now it should still work. So after you do this, you're going to want to rotate and make sure these bones still work. Okay, so they still work, which means they are still weight painted, as you can see. And now we get to the part where you gotta connect all the bones. And so you want to select the bone that actually controls part of the body. Put it back. So select the old bone and the new bone, and then go into edit mode, Control P, keep offset, then go back to pose mode, then go down the arm, go right here, edit mode, Control P, offset, pose mode, and you're just going to want to do this for all the bones down the line. Go to Control P, keep offset. Now I'm only going to do this for this one arm and maybe the leg and maybe the spine just so I can show it to you. So I'm not going to do the fingers because the fingers take forever and you kind of get what the fingers do. And so we'll do the hand. Oops. And edit mode, keeps offset. And if I go right here, I'll just go and I'll get the arm IKs. It should add this bone right here. And as you can see, it's now affecting. And now we've gotten the arm rigged up. We haven't got the fingers rigged up, but we got the arm rigged up. Rotate the wrist, move around all you want. So put that back. And real quick, even though I'm not going to rig the fingers, I want to tell you a little tip. As you can see here, the fingers are just one bone. It's just this one bone. You might be wondering, like, oh, it's moving around like this, but how do I make the fingers curl up? And you do that by clicking S to scale, and you scale this up and down. And that's how you kind of bend the fingers like that. So, I just wanted you to know that's how you do that. And now we'll rig up the spine and the neck, and then we'll do the leg, just so you can see how that's done. So I usually start up here in the neck area, on the head I mean, and I'll usually go down the line of bones. And now we'll do the chest. Control P offset, pose mode. Control P offset, go back to pose mode. Then right here we want this bone to be selected to this one. And this little tiny one. I don't like that there's a tiny one, but what are you gonna do? It's gonna be kind of a pain in the butt. This is what it's like to select bones on the fingers, by the way. That's why I don't like it. It takes forever, and also you end up selecting the wrong bones. Okay, so we did the spine. I'll select torso, and we'll see if it worked. And as you can see, the spine works. Uh, this arm doesn't move because it's not rigged yet. This arm, you can't see, it does move. So this is like the top rotation bone. It's kind of the bottom one. You see this little one kind of swings the hips around. And neither legs are rigged up, so they're not staying on the ground, but they should stay on the ground. This kind of moves the entire model all together. And then there's the head bone. Rotate that around. Alright, so that's the head bones, the spine bones, the arm bones. Finger bones, you can kind of see what I mean. You just do the same thing over and over. Now we'll just do the leg bones just so you can kind of see what that is in case that's a... So we want to grab the ones that are moving around the entire leg, which is that one. So click Alt G. Okay. Control P, keep offset. And most models won't have these twist bones. So as you can see, there's this bone called twist thigh. And it's halfway up the leg bone. And what that is it's made so that when the legs turn, actually is this? Okay. When the legs turn, sometimes it'll pinch at the knee or it'll pinch at the thigh or the ankle. Same thing with the arms. You can see there's twist bones right here and right here. And the reason we have the twist bones is because it'll interpolate between the two of them. So it's if the knee was facing this way, but the thigh was facing forward, or like if I'll just finish rigging this up real quick and then I'll tell you what I mean. So I'm just going to do the foot, and now we'll do the toe, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So I'll get, what is this, the left leg IK. So let's say I have the foot facing outwards. What could happen sometimes is that you'll get a really bad pinch right here, and it'll look like the model has a crease in it. And what this twist bone does is it takes away 50%. It takes 50% of that twisting away from this little area to right here. So instead of all the twisting happening up here, it twists halfway here and halfway here. So it gives a nice smoother twist. So it does still pinch a little bit, but it really does help with that pinching problem. So I wanted to do the leg rather than just stopping at the spine because there's a couple of things to the leg. You can move the toe, though if you want the person to be like standing on their heels, you'd probably do it like this, or if you make them like kind of go on their toes like that. So that's how you do it. You move it along this little axis, and you can move around the hands. And I think that's pretty much it with the rigging. All you need to do is just kind of get rid of this green layer and bring back all these. All these old bones are stuck on the head layer. So to quickly get rid of that, you're going to want to select the head and the neck, which are the only bones that are on this head layer. You're going to hide them. Select every other bone and put it on different layers. So we'll put that like right here because that's an empty layer. And I'll click unhide or Alt H to unhide the head bones. And then we'll bring back all these bones that we're going to be using. And there we go. So now we have a rigged up model. You can animate it. And actually I'll go into render view so you can... Do I have my sun lamp? Okay, yeah, my sun lamp was hidden. I just burped again, my bad. But as you can see, we have our rigged up model. It's textured. Rig it. You can animate it using keyframes. And that's it. So I just wanted to show you guys how to do that. If this helped you, please like and subscribe so you can see all the new videos I'm going to be making. I'll be making another one soon. So see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.